Good morning. My name is Terese and I own Boysenberry Designs. It's a crochet plushie amigurumi business out of Oswego, New York. And today's video is about my upcoming event. So I have an upcoming event. Today is, I'm filming with my phone. Today is May 5th and I have an event on May 8th. So on Friday, today's Tuesday. And it's from 1 to 5 and it's in Oswego, New York. It's called Ozfest. So it's the end of year, celebration party for the college for SUNY Oswego. So it's called Ozfest, like Ozfest. So it's not like Wizard of Oz or Ozzy Osbourne, but it's like their rendition of a party. There's vendors, food trucks. I think there's even like a Velcro wall and like fun games, carnival stuff. And yeah. So far it's going to be outside. I paid for like a 10 by 10 tent space. I have my own tent. But the email said if it rains, it'll get moved inside. So I'm not sure space-wise what I'll have. I'm planning on just doing, I think, a 5-foot table, a 6-foot table, and then I have I call it a wicker shelf. It's really not. It's like, I don't even think it's wood. It's a plant stand. It's 3-tier. A lot of people use them. I think originally I heard about it from Cameron's Cute Creations a couple years ago maybe, when she was still doing videos. It's from Amazon. It's like $50 or so. I just don't use the top bar. I just use the 3 shelves. Honestly, the top bar broke a while ago. It's a very weak little bar, so I just don't use that. I don't have a purpose for it anyway. But anyway, so I'm planning on doing like an L shape and then the wicker stand. Now, if you just came across me, hello. But I recently, 3 weeks ago, it might be 3 weeks ago now, had a 2-day event, so 2-day festival called Maple Festival. If not, you can watch that. I'd really appreciate it. I'm just over here chilling, but I would love if you watch that. But I sold quite a bit of stuff there, and I am low on stuff. So what I've been doing is, let me just grab the paper. What I've been doing is I purchased this little download tracker set from Etsy. It was with the coupon. I had it in my cart, and then it was a couple hours later they sent me a 45% off coupon, so I bought it, and it was $2, $1.50, something like that. And it was printable, very basic printable. But for me, I need printables. I very much need printables, because if not, I will fill up this whole notebook rewriting my list over and over again because I don't like how it's written. So I bought these printables. So instead I'm printing paper, whatever. I have the instant ink thing, membership thing. I'm good. But what I did was my fan's on, it's a little bit crazy in here. I printed off this inventory tracker. I have some blank ones behind here too. Let me just show you. There's other trackers on there, there's sales reports, whatever. But it's just basically a chart, and you fill in the date, product name, quantity to order. For me, that's quantity to make, but other people would order stuff. And then cost or value. So very basic, very basic. It's what I would write anyway, so it works perfect for me. But I filled that out, and then I highlighted what I've already made. So as you can see based on the highlights, the original, the darker color of the yellow, I have a lot of highlighters, is stuff that I was already good on. So I'm not going to make another Art the Clown. I'm not going to make another Linda Belcher. There's certain stuff that I'm good with what I had left over. There's no need for me to make another one. And then there's some stuff I have 1 snake left. I need to make more snakes. Or 1 loaf kitten left. I clearly need to make more loaf kittens, right? So that I have on there. When I make more, I just write the value that I'm adding. Then I add it up at the end. It's just simple for my mind. I hope that made sense. It might not have, but let's pretend it did. So I have my list here. I have made quite a bit of stuff this last week. I had a lot of customs a week ago. I still have a Garfield I have to make too. I think I have to make that by Friday, I think is what I told her. But I still have, so today's Tuesday. So I have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then that's it. So I have 3 days. And then Friday, it's 1 to 5. It's in the afternoon. So yeah, so I have 3 days. So I'm going to make a couple more things today. But I wanted to update with what I'm bringing, and the value, I guess, that I'm bringing there. So not quantity of items, but price point of what I'm bringing there and my expectations. Now, I made a bunch yesterday, so I have not added that in. Let me do that quick and I'll be right back. Did the math and I added in the stuff I made the last day and a half, 2 days. So I was originally at $1,655, and in the last week, specifically the last couple days though, I've added in several $100s. So my actual value now is $2,095, so like 2095. So that's not bad. Normally I like a lot more of inventory, and there's still, like I said, I only have one loaf kitten. I need to make loaf kittens. I only have one possum. I don't have any in this value. I don't have any of the small turtles, small bees, and that kind of stuff, which I'm in the process of making. So like those aren't added in. I don't have any axolotls. Point being, there's some stuff that I for sure need to add in. So what I've done, sorry about that, I got a phone call. So what I've done is on a separate one that I had, I wrote down what I specifically would like to make. So it's really quick, so I'm just gonna go through it quick. I've been trying to like simplify what I say. I ramble a lot. I know, it's gross. So I have 17 chickens, but they're all like, for some reason, they're all like purpley themed. Those ones don't sell as well for me. I love purple. I love purple. But the ones that are left are almost all like variegated purple or like that type of coloring. So I would like to make 8 more chickens, but make them neutral. So make them tan, white, maybe a couple gray, and then some blue ones. Those sell well. From Animal Crossing, I believe the blue chicken's from, and then maybe a couple pink ones. So I would like to do some of the ones that sold quickly last time. So I'd like to make 8 more chickens. I only have 1 snake. I'd like to make 3 more. I have 1 of the small loaf cats, the $10 loaf cats, and I'd like to make 6 more, so 7 total. I have 1 possum. I would like to make 2 more. Of the small octos, I have 3. They're like the $5 octos. I have 3. I'd like to make 3 more. I don't have any of the mini mons from Beck Made Studio, like the lightning guy, the yellow guy. I have 0 of those. I'd like to make 2. I don't have any Pokeballs. I'd like to make 2. The small whales I have 2 of, and I've already started 4 more. So I have 2 of this peach color and then 2 of these. So I would like 4 more. So these are the 4. I just need to do the underbelly. So I'm already started on that. So I have 2 of the very berry and 2 of the pink lemonade, I think is that other color. So I'm already started on that one. The mini turtles I would like to make 12 of, which I've already started working on too, but they're not done. So they're not in my things yet. They're not done when I make this video. I'm working on that right now. I would like to make 3 axolotls. I don't have any of those. I would like to make 1 of the zebra bubs. They're like the small, who makes that? Oddball Crochet makes these bubs. They're called bubs. They're like small little, I call them snugglers, but they're just in general less stuffed little like plushies. They're so cute. They're all over like my Instagram and Etsy. I've pattern tested. First was the zebra, and then I think the lamb. Is there one other one? Oh no, she just gave us the other one. So I've also done like the elephant, lion, alligator. Is there one other one I did? Lamb, snowman, zebra. Oh yeah, so the 3. But anywho, the zebra sells the best for me, specifically the hot pink zebra. So what I do is I do a hot pink, light pink with cream zebra, and then the zebra stripe gum. If you're my age or older than me, you might know what I'm talking about. But like, I was born in 92, and I grew up with this zebra stripe gum, and it was like multicolor, like rainbow color with white. So good. I love that. And the Band-Aid shaped gum. They still have that at Walmart. Fun fact, I walked down a different aisle of Walmart to cut through to the front to get ice the other day, and there's like a retro section. I don't know if your Walmart has this. Next time I'm there, I'll take a video of it. And it's like old school candy is what the shelf is labeled as, and it's like 100 grand bar, which I don't think that's that old school. I like 100 grand bars. And then it's like the push pops. It's the Wonder Bar balls. So I don't, again, if you're my age, you might know what I'm talking about, but I grew up with this stuff. It's like a chocolate ball, and inside is like some random shaped hard candies, maybe some like stickers or tattoos or something. I have not bought one in like 30 years, but something like that. And then there's like, what else is in there? Laffy Taffy, which again, I don't, maybe I'm just aging, but it was stuff I'm like, I don't really consider this that old, but okay. Mellow cups were in there, Mallow cups or whatever, the yellow package. And then the Zero bars, like another chocolate bar, but there's a whole section of it. You know what? Next, I think Juicefuls or something like that too. And Ring Pops. Anyway, next time I'm there, I'm gonna take a video of it because I feel crazy. I'm like, this isn't that old. I'm totally scrolling. What am I talking about? zebra. So I think on the zebra end, see how we got back to the point. On the zebra end, normally you'd be like, oh, I'm just gonna make a black and white one. That one was the last zebra to sell. So I think if I'm gonna make just one zebra, I have just one written down. I think I'm gonna make a pink one because people liked that. And the mane I do in the hot pink too. It's just very pretty. I really like it. Every time I've made that one or the rainbow one, it's sold out of all the other ones. So I have one zebra written down, so I'll probably just make a pink one. And then, the smaller dragons, they're like thinner, and they have like the little wings. They don't take too long. It's from like DH something crochet. I'll have to look it up and tag them. I don't have it on me right now. Anyway, I don't have any of those. I'd like to make 5. Those I just make out of Parfait Chunky, like the mint-ish colored ones. Maybe Lagoon if I still have that. But I just use that type because I like that size. So, and that's a free pattern on Instagram too. I'll have to find the name and I'll probably put it below. Or if I don't, just let me know and I could tag them. It's literally, it's on Instagram. It's definitely free. I do know they have a PDF though on Etsy that's paid, but I just do the free one. I just screenshot it and just follow it. So anyway, so I'd still like to make those. I have 3 days. I have today, tomorrow, Thursday, and then Friday's the event. So I need to finish in the next 3 days. The only other thing I have to do for this event, it's definitely a smaller event. It's one I don't have to like crazily prepare for, obviously. It was $50 to get in. I think like $1 to process the payment, so $51. It's 10 minutes from here, maybe 12 minutes from here. And I think setup's at noon and start selling by 1 or 2. I'm hoping that it ends up being inside. Obviously with a tent, you get more of your own space, like sectioned off and you can put walls up and stuff. But I just hate setting up a tent. Like I have my spouse help me and whatnot, but like I don't like dealing with wind. I don't like dealing with the sand weights. I have like 4 big weights. I have a lot. I have like other weights too, but I at least use the 4 like 25-pound ones. And then I have like the disc ones too. I just don't like setting up a tent. It's just very annoying. I don't like trying to fit it back in the bag after. I just don't like setting up a tent. So I'm hoping they move it inside because then I would just grab my tables. It'd be so easy. So we will see. We'll see how far I get through this little list. It's not that big of a list. It's a very small list. Obviously there's some stuff I have like 12 of on here. Yeah, we will see how far we get. Good morning. Today is Saturday and I am going to go over how my event went. So first, before I continue, I had my event yesterday and it was setup was from noon to 1. And then you could start selling at 1, but it didn't get busy till 2. Like this was information they gave because the college kids were still having finals until like 2. Which is true. It didn't get busy till 2. And then it went from 2 to 5. And it was on one of their side fields from the college, that like this little side field by the parking lots. And there was also 3 different rides. There was a tent. It was called like Blackout Tent, and it's kind of cool actually. I would love to do this. It was a tent with like graffiti on the outside of the sidewalls, and you can basically, it was like a rage tent. Like they had breakable stuff. You had to like sign a waiver. I didn't do it for the college kids. There was a huge line for it. And like you could break stuff and like just take out your anger. It was kind of cool. I know Destiny Mall in Syracuse, they have something like that too. I've seen like videos of it. I think that's cool. I think that's super cool. But anyway, they had that. They had 5 different food trucks that were all free. Like the college prepaid, or maybe at the end they pay how many dishes, and it was like a sampling from each thing. So even us as vendors, we got free food from the food trucks. There was like a waffle overload, so it was like waffles, chicken and waffles, and then like strawberry and waffles. There was a deep fried truck that did like Oreos and pickles, I believe. There was a walking taco truck, and there was a pulled chicken truck, and they did like chicken on like buffalo chicken on fries, and then like chicken wings. I didn't go to those. And then there was an ice cream truck. But anyway, that was all Fritos. That was cool. And then there was like other activities. There was a DJ there, which was part of my issue. The DJ like booth there, it was all very copyrighted music. It was loud. We were basically like next to it. so I couldn't even barely talk. At the very beginning, I was able to get a very quick video of our table before we switched the table, because they weren't playing the music yet when I set up. But the whole rest of the time until 5, it was just very loud music, which is fine. It seemed like everybody was, having a great time. So I got there a little bit late. We had a little bit of car issues, so I got there at like 12:15, but there was only 7 vendors that she chose. It was juried. And I was therefore the only crochet person there. There was a crochet person, me. There was somebody who, they like revamped vintage clothing next to me, and then she had a whole bunch of like vinyl records and stuff. It was very interesting. Like, I've never seen a booth like that before. Very cool clothing. And then she does iced dyed shirts as well. Like, so she had like 3 different little sections of her tent. There was a freeze dried person, there was a 3D print person, and there was somebody who did jewelry, like hand beaded jewelry. Is that everybody? Oh, sorry, there wasn't one other person. The person that was in charge did those like glass mason jar cups with the bamboo lids, and then she has the UV like transfers that she puts on it and like squeegees them on. And then they had like crock charms. It was like an interesting variety, and that was it for vendors. And again, it was just on their like field. We had our own tent. We had a 10 by 10 tent with weights. Saying the weights specifically because this college is literally on the water on not Oswego River. I don't know, whatever the water is right there. I'm not from here originally. And it's a lot of water. And it was windy. It was so sunny. I got some sun. I got a little bit of sunburn. Oh, I have rosacea anyway, but it's brighter than normal. My spouse, he has a little bit of a bald spot, and he has some sunburn on his head. But it was so sunny. It was windy, but it was like cold wind. It was like 50, I think, out yesterday, which is warm for New York this time of year. But it was like shaded obviously from our tent, and there was like some trees. So on my end, because I got so cold, I sat outside in the sun. Like, I scooted my chair back further and further, so I sat in the sun all day. That's the only way you could do it. It was so cold otherwise. I didn't bring like blankets or anything. I wasn't prepared for that. But the wind kept catching my grids. So let me show you quick the clip of my setup, when I first set up, and then I'll be right back. Okay, I'm at my event. I set up, and we were late, so it's a little bit wonky, but we have this kind of a setup. It's windy. We're right on the water. So we have this setup here with my banner. Let me back up with my banner. And then some smalls up here. I just need to put some more like tags out. And then we have some chickens. And again, we only did 2 stories on this just because the wind keeps grabbing it. And then we have this on the outside. So then this. So yeah, I'll check in later. Okay, so as you can see, I had the L shape, I had the weights, I had my tent. So the first setup was fine, and then I realized that people were walking from the other direction. So what I did was I changed the L part to the other side. So instead of the shelf where like Linda, Squirtle, and like Art the Clown, like the bigger plushies were, I changed that to the other side because that's where people were walking in. So we just like lifted up the table and swiped it over. I didn't take photos of that because there was people everywhere. But I just like switched it quick, like an hour in. Now, again, we set up so quickly. It was like 5 after 1 when we finished, so it took like 50 minutes. But that was more so, again, just combating the wind when we were setting up. To like quickly get it staked down and then weighed down before like the wind caught it or whatever. Hi, Punky. So it didn't actually get busy based on my square results until, like 1:45 or so, we got our first sale. Now, again, this event is at a college. I'm just saying this before I say this. And the rest of the activities were free for like the students. Like like I said, the food trucks are free. My guess is at the end, this is just me guessing, because I think I've seen this at one other place before. It was like an ice cream truck that did this. Like you get a free of whatever they decide on their menu, like a sampling small, like appetizer size, like little thing. And then if I remember correctly, they just like keep a tally and then they charge the school for that. I mean, tax write-offs anyway, but I'm pretty sure that's how that worked. But for the students, you like signed in at a table and then you went and did all that stuff. That was all free. Everything was free for them. Like all the food was, the activities were, the rides were free. Everything was free for them. So my guess, based on the reactions for the first like hour, was people were surprised that the booths weren't free. Like it was just like a miscommunication that there was vendors and then there was activities. So once they figured that out, it got better. At first, it was just a lot of like, why do we have to pay kind of comments, which is fine. And again, these are college kids. Not everybody has money. Obviously, people work multiple jobs, DoorDash, this, that, the other. No shade at all. However, there was clearly a miscommunication between like, oh, there's vendor set up and then there's other activities, which is fine. Now, if I would have thought about that going into this, I would have done way more $5 items, way more $10 items, way more low price items. Not that I really prepped that much for this event, just going to be very blunt, but I so wish I had more of those items, because 3/4 of my sales were $5 and $10 items, specifically $5 items. So I have my list right here of what sold. I kept track this time. So I'll just go through quick of how many of what I sold, and then I'll go through what I made. I think that's the best way to do it. Looking at the times, so I made $80 from 2 o'clock to 3. I'm counting the 1:45 sale because we only had one in the 1 p.m. So we had one sale between 1 p.m. and 2 p.m. because it was just dead, which we already knew that going in. The coordinator said like a lot of the classes end at 2. There's like, it's like finals week, hence Ozfest. It's one of their like parties for the kids. And then at the end of the day, there was a rap or two. Cannot remember the guy's name. But they like hire in somebody for like concerts and stuff at the end of the day. It's very cool. So from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, I just had the one sale at 1:45. It was like 1:46, I think. And then I had the majority of them between 2:30 and 3:30. That was the majority of the sales I had. And then I had some like right at 5. So it was like a weird like grouping of them. But let me just go through this. The only large item I sold was Squirtle. So I did sell Squirtle and he was priced at 30. He was the only Pokemon I had left other than a really mini Gengar. He was left over from Maple Fest. I did sell him. I sold him at 4:45, so I sold him at the end. I sold both of my elephants. I had 3. They were out of Parfait Chunky, so I still have my maroon one. I think it's called Very Berry of Parfait Chunky. But I sold both my mint with Lagoon and then the reverse of that. So I sold both of those for $20 each. I finally sold my strawberry cow. It's a black and like cream colored cow and it has like a strawberry purse. I've had that for years. Like I could not tell you how many events I've brought that to. I went back in my photos. I've had it for more than 2 years. I could track it back 2 years ago. So I've had that for a while. I sold one of my Fable Fawns. It's the one without the flower crown, just the plain one. And that was $20, which I was considering lowering those after Maple Fest. The ballerina mice, like the mouse with the ballerinas from Oak and Marlowe, those sold amazing at Maple Fest. So those were worth the $20, especially because the tutu can come off. Well, just the ruffle part of the tutu can come off. But the fawns didn't do as well, and the cat hasn't sold at all. So I'm like, oh, maybe I should lower those a little bit. But that sold for $20, just the plain one. She even asked me to name it for her. It was kind of funny. Didn't sell any of those. I sold one medium loaf cat for $20. And then I sold 3 of 4 of my loaf kittens, so the smaller ones. I sold 3 out of 4 of those pretty instantly. Those were like one of the first sales. I sold 2 of my swinging friends, so like those car swinging friends. I sold a mallard and then a chick. I sold 1 leggy frog. I sold my one opossum, those are 10 each. The swinging friend leggy frog opossum, those are 10 each. I sold, how many bees? I sold 5 bees, and those were just like in a little, I call them a hot dog dish. They're like the little round oval baskets. I sold 10 keychains. Loud truck, hold on. I should probably close my window. I sold 10 keychains, so I have 40 left, which I'm getting very low on my keychains. I noticed a lot of my keychains left, like 10 of them are the gummy worms, which I've never sold a gummy worm. I thought they were cool. I'm like, oh, they look just like the trolley gummy worms. I've had them for years. Like, they don't sell. And then I still have like 9 pickles, but people thought they were cacti. So like, I don't know, maybe it needs something else to like spruce it up. No idea. So what point being, a lot of my keychains left are just the same thing, and I think I have like 2 snakes and then maybe 2 bees left, so I need to like zhuzh it up. I sold 2 of 4 of my small octos, and those were in a square little like crate basket thing with like the other $5 items other than the keychains. I sold 2 of 4 of those, so I still have 2 left, 2 out of 4, and those are $5. I sold just 1 rubber duck this time. I sold a yellow one. That's $10. I sold 2 of my small chunk frogs is what I call them. They're like the small, it's not the leggy frogs, but it's the other frog I make out of Mom's Stitchetti, I think is the one. Yes, on Instagram, Mom's Stitchetti. There's an S in the center. She, in her free pattern section or free something, it's like a little circle at the top. It's like a category. And you can go to the stories she posts based on her post. And there is a free, like, walkthrough on how to make her little frogs. They are so easy. I like making her frogs, not only because it's a different style frog than the leggy frog. Some people don't like the leggy frogs. But I like them because it's a very easy project to just crochet either in the car, at an event, quite frankly, because you don't need polyfill to the end. Like, you end up with 8 stitches left, and you could still easily stuff that later on. So it's a project to where you don't have to fully fasten it off to stuff it. That's why I like the chickens too, because you don't have to pre-stuff something before you continue. You could just like leave the opening, get a whole pile of them, and then do them all at once. I just like those types of projects to where you don't need polyfill with you in that moment. Obviously, if you want to sell it right then, you should bring polyfill, but anywho, so I sold 2 of those. I still have 2 left. So I literally just like 2 events ago or 2 like videos ago was saying like I have 12 mushrooms. This is before Maple Fest. And I'm like, I've had these mushrooms for years. Like, I have not made a mushroom guy in years. Like, these are still from the old yarn I was using. And I sold 8 of them at Maple Fest, like out of the blue. And I think they're Mushy Boys on Instagram. It's a free pattern. I do the squattier one. There's a taller one too, but I just do the squattier one. But again, I've had these mushrooms forever. Like, originally I had the bee winged one. I had like a mauve colored, a purple like capped one. Had those forever. I sold 8 out of 12 at Maple Fest, like randomly. And then I brought the 3, obviously there's 3 left. So, or 4 left. I sold 1 last week on Etsy, and then I had 3 going into yesterday. So out of the blue, this girl came up and bought 2 of them. So I have 1 left. Point being, I sold 2 out of 3. But I don't know if it's just by chance that's happening. It's 2 different events located hours apart from each other. So I don't know if it's by chance or if mushrooms are back, like, coming popular. So now I was going to never make a mushroom again because I was like tired of sitting on these mushrooms a couple events ago. So now I'm stuck to where it's like, do I make mushrooms again or not? I have no idea what I'm gonna do. I have 1 red capped mushroom and it has the little spots on it, but I don't know. Do I make more? Do I just leave the 1? We don't know. My next event is the 30th of this month, so at the very end of the month. So I need to decide before then. But yeah, so I sold 2 out of 3 of those that I brought. Chickens, I had 17, and the majority of them, like I mentioned before, are really just purple. Like, they're either like a purple gray speckle or they're like a mauve color. There was 1 pink one, I think 2 gray and 2 blue, and then all the rest were purple-ish color scheme. Like, not just purple, but like purple toned. I don't have any more of that yarn over here. So I had 17 going in and I sold 8. So I still have 9 left. But all 9 now are purple, but 2. I think I have 2 gray and all the rest are purple still. So I still have that many purples. So I need to make I guess some neutrals. I do know the blue people loved, more so from the video game. What's that called? Animal Crossing, I think, is the blue chicken. But that with the purple crown, people like that. So maybe I'll make a couple of those. I don't know. So the next thing were small whales. They're just the $5 whales all from Jade on her Instagram. She has a free pattern just at the top of her Instagram. There's like a bubble, free patterns, and you just scroll through. She has like octopi and like other stuff too. And she has these little baby whales. So I use the Parfait Chunky in Very Berry and in Pink Lemonade. I don't have any more over here. And I only made the 2 for this event. I still had bodies, but I just didn't finish them. So I just had 2 for this event, and I had them in the crate with the other $5 items. So I sold one of those. I sold the peach one, so I still have the plum colored. So I still have the Very Berry. I'm so sorry. My Laying Down Dragon sold. I had a Laying Down Dragon. It was like a mint colored one from Mom's Stitchetti. It's a paid pattern. I had that for $45, and I had that on the shelf. That was really, that and Squirtle, I think, were my only large items I sold, I think. And it was a professor that bought that was walking through. So I sold that for $45. I sold that within the first hour and a half, so that's not bad. I had one little baby mouse. It was a free pattern on Instagram. I cannot remember who it's by off the top of my head, but I just made one of those and I just threw it in the $5 bin. That sold. And then I sold both of my little baby Kirby's. They're just like the little, very squatty, just Kirby's. I don't have a pattern for that. I just made it up. It's really just basic. It's just like a squatty shape with some bobble stitches and then just embroider their eyes. But I sold both of those. And then I sold, the last things I sold were all of my little baby turtles. So I just market prepped. I think we made 8. Based on my thing, we had to have made 8 of the mini like little baby turtles out of, I don't have any more of the mint color, but out of like the velvet yarn. I call it velvet, it's just chenille, Premier Just Chenille from Dollar Tree. But I just market prepped like to see how many I could make out of skein of yarn. I did those in bees, and I sold all 8. I sold those very quickly. Like I sold those, it was easily by 2. I'll have to go back in my square and look. But I sold all 8 very quickly, and people were asking for more, but I just didn't have, number one, I didn't have the yarn with me, but I also just didn't want to do it. But I sold all 8 of those for $5 each. So that's great. Again, looking back, I'm like, oh, I wish I would have made more of those $5 items, because those were the things that were selling. Because again, everybody doesn't have a budget like other events to where it's like families coming or this or that. I did not see a kid under college age there, period. There were some families there, but they were just a couple of adults with their college like student. There was a lot of teachers walking through, like professors walking through, but all the rest were just college students. And that's no hate against college students. It's just they don't necessarily have just disposable income the way like I might have, or the way somebody else might have, or families or whatever. So looking at this, I have the total here of what I sold. So I'm low energy, and I'm not at all, like, I'm very glad that I made what I made, because I wasn't sure what we were going to make back on this. So just full disclosure, I was $50 in, and then it was like $1 transaction fee on their website. It was through SUNY College. So like you checked out on their website for the spot. So it was $50, and then it was $1 transaction. So $51 is what I was in on, like, before the event. That's what I paid to be there. And then of course I have my ID, or not my ID, my tax ID, my business stuff. I have all that already before I do events to begin with. And this one, you could either purchase insurance, or you can sign their liability waiver that like they're not liable if somebody gets hurt because of you. So on this one, instead of buying insurance, I just signed that. It was a 4-hour market, and reality 3-hour in my head, because it didn't even get busy till 2. So for normal markets, if they ask for insurance, I just purchase it for the day or couple days or whatever. Like Maple Fest, they require that. But on this one, I decided just to sign their waiver. Should I have probably just bought insurance? Probably. However, on this one, I did just sign it just because it was such a quick market. just letting you know. So I was only in $50 instead of like $150 on this one. So I was on $51 if you want to be specific. So on Venmo, I made $74. All my items end in either 5s or 0s. However, obviously Venmo, Cash App, Square, there's going to be fees taken out of them. And I factor that into my prices. I take care of the tax. I don't charge tax because I just don't want to deal with change. But more so trying to explain to people, I used to collect tax on each item. Like either way, I'm collecting tax. Like either I'm paying it or somebody else is. I pay my tax. But it is so hard to explain to people. And I even overhear other people's conversation, other vendors that like make people pay like the actual tax up front. Is like, it is so awkward. It is so awkward to explain to somebody, even though it's common sense. You go to a store, you have to pay tax. Like I could go up to my Dollar General right here. I'm paying tax on stuff, but people do not understand that. Like, why would I have change with me? Or like, why do I have to pay tax? Like I only tried that for 2 events. And I learned very quickly that the only way to not either be embarrassed or to get attitude, like crazy attitude and get berated, was I just factor into my prices. So I upped some prices, or in general, I just take it out of the fee. Like if I'm selling something for 10, I know I'm not getting all $10 of that. Not only because there's overhead of just events, there's overhead of materials, there's overhead of my time, but also I factor in tax into that. So from now on, I take care of it. I know a lot of vendors do that. But I was next to one yesterday that was collecting tax, and the college students did not understand. And then they just weren't buying stuff because they were irritated with her. So I don't know. On my end, I'm still paying my tax. It's just that I'm now paying it out of the cost. That's how I do it. A lot of people hate that. That's totally fine. It's just the most simple for me. And at busier events, it's very hard to like explain stuff to people. It's just so much easier just to quickly be like, perfect, thanks. And I have all my records, I have everything. So that's how I do it. So Venmo obviously has a fee. Venmo, Cash App, Square. I use Square for my processing. They all have fees that are taken out of it. And then obviously I'll still pay taxes too. So I made $74 on Venmo. Cash App, I made $55. And then Square, I should close my window still, but I haven't. Square, I made $144. And then cash, I collected $263. So in total, I made $536. And like I said, there's obviously overhead and stuff like that. That's not including overhead. That's not including the fee that I prepaid, I think 2 weeks ago. I think I signed up for this a week ago. It was recently. So what I collected and came home with yesterday was $536. Now, I was like at 2 p.m. I was not even sure if I was going to make my vendor feedback because I think it was just $5 that first hour. The second hour, I might have made $50, and then it got like busy, like 2:30 to 3:45. It got busy, but I was not even sure if I was going to make my vendor feedback. So I'm very thankful, and I am specifically thankful for those $5 items. I know that sounds silly. I know a lot of people, it's hard to make $5 items because a lot of items, smalls, like they're still worth more than $5. That is hard. So my $5 items are keychains. There's a small little like crate of like very small things. So like there's like little ducks. I think I had a mouse. I had small Kirby's. What else did I have? Whales. And then I have the bees and the turtles. And even some of those, I should probably have more than $5. It's just they're quick for me to do, so I don't mind. And I'm making them out of the cheaper yarn anyway. So all of those I'm so thankful for that I had, because 3/4 of the stuff I sold were $5. And then the chickens and the loaf cats were the $10 items that sold. And I think one possum, right? Yeah, one possum. So like, I'm super thankful for those items. If I did not have those $5 and $10 items specifically yesterday, I wouldn't have barely made my vendor feedback. Like I would have made it back, but it wouldn't have been much wiggle room on that. So I'm very thankful for those items. And that's why sometimes I'm like, oh, they're just $5 items. I'm tired of making them. However, in this economy, but also specifically at a college event, like those kids, they're just trying to make it by. Like not everybody has just disposable income. I mean, heck, even I don't sometimes. But I'm so thankful I had those $5 items yesterday. But overall, it was successful. It ended up not raining. It rained yesterday morning, but it rained before setup. And it was just pure sun. It was windy, but it was pure sun. I'm so thankful for that. So it was outdoors. I had my own little space. That's a huge perk. I was only one of 6 or 7 vendors. Huge perk. free food. Not that I ate there, but free food, huge perk for my spouse. And it was only maybe 11 miles. It's super close to my house compared to like hours away. That was a huge perk. It was on this side of Oswego, like closer to me. So it's like literally 11, 12 miles. Parking was free. It was right there. So it was good. It dragged for a bit, and it was cold, but it dragged for a bit on my end. But the only negative at all, besides the wind, which you'll have any outdoor event, there's a potential of wind. The only negative I had, other than the car trouble, first thing, the only negative at all event-wise I had, period, was bathrooms. There was no bathrooms. Well, there was, but you had to walk into the college, like on the other side. It just wasn't convenient. The only other negative besides that was the miscommunication that everything was free because all the other stuff was free. So I don't think that they ever like said or announced. There was plenty of advertising, oddly, but when I looked back last night, like trying to figure out the confusion of like, I wonder why people thought that. It's because the table to like sign in and the disclosure for the rage tent thing was all before the vendors. So like on their end, I think they thought just everything was free because the food trucks were free, because the rides were free, because the other events and the music was free. So it appeared to anybody now looking back that the tents were free for the kids too. Not kids, sorry, for the students too. And I could see that now because the way it was set up visually, it looked like the whole thing was free. And I didn't have necessarily rude people. I definitely did have some comments. Like, why would we pay for any of these booths? Like, this is supposed to be a free event. I got a lot of those comments within the first hour, I would say. And then the coordinator or whatever did like a thing about it, but a post about it, but then also an announcement about it. But at first it definitely was that. That was the only negative I really had other than the bathrooms. Especially because if you look at it, I was $50, let's just round down. I was $50 into it. So I usually have a rule that I like to 10 times my vendor fee. And I did get that. To go back, I like to more than 10 times something. But again, this was only a 4-hour market with the majority of my sales just being 3 hours. So like, if you look at it on that end, if I was just sitting at home otherwise, I might as well make $100 an hour. Like, that's not bad. Like, there's been events to where there's been events in the past where I haven't even made my vendor feedback and there was no traffic, period. Like, people didn't even know the event was happening. That was at a firehouse. That was terrible. Actually, I've had a couple of those that were terrible and they were expensive to get into. And then I've had events where I've made like $100, but it's like a 9-hour event, which to me isn't great. I personally, of course, would like to make a ton of money every time I do an event because setup is exhausting. Prepping is exhausting. And then I grabbed my spouse so he could help me because I like to have somebody else there. Just for like bathroom and also setup, especially if it's a tent, because I can't get a tent up by myself. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not coordinated to do my tent anyway. My tent is a more expensive tent from Amazon because I've had some crappy tents, like Walmart ones before, not the blue ones. I've had that before too, but they're like Ozark Trail one. That one broke pretty instantly. The push center one, I did not like that. But I have one from Amazon now. It's a heavy beast. And like you pop up the sides and they have like latches and stuff. It's nice and it's easy with 2 people, but I cannot get that up by myself. I have no upper body strength. I cannot get that up by myself. But anywho, I don't think there was anything else negative. If you're looking at would I go back, I would go back, maybe. If you look at my rules, I would go back because I made what I wanted to make. I'm very thankful for what I made, especially because I wasn't sure. I'm thankful for those $5 items, to be honest with you. The only reason I might not go back is the slow traffic. Like, it was only 4 hours, so that's great. However, like, the wind sucked. And my spouse even, he's like, wow, the last hour dragged until like right at 5. Then there was like a random group because the music ended at 5. The first group of music ended at 5. So there's people walking back up through to go to like their dorms or whatever. I'd only go back if there was clearer communication on like what to expect from the students. I think that would be helpful. But I don't know. I'm kind of tossed on whether I'd go back. Luckily, it's not for another year, so I can decide until then. I don't know. I just, looking at it, I made the money I made, but now I'm like, Like a lot of the time, we just like sat there and like watched the water. Like there was definitely some lull spots. I don't know. I'll have to get back to you on whether I'd go back. I guess you'll know, won't you? But yeah, so that's exciting. So quick summary, I made $536. I was $51 into it. And now I already have a new sheet, that printable sheet I was talking about before, of what I need to make basically. So what I have is highlighted. What I'm good on is highlighted. For example, I only need one large Art the Clown, so I'm not going to make another one. So like that's highlighted at the top. I don't need another one. So I already have my list. I did inventory when I got home. I only have one of those like body bags, those like IKEA looking, they're from Amazon. They're like clear tarp almost. I only have one of those now of inventory, and I had like a bunch just a month ago from Maple Fest. So there's definitely some stuff I need to make, but specifically the smalls. So what does that mean? That means that I'm gonna have to make a lot of smalls. By smalls, I mean $5 and $10 items. Yeah, I have a lot to work on. My next event is at a vineyard, Strego Vineyard. I have the paper right here. Let me just look. My next event, look how organized I am, is Orange and Olive Boutique Spring into Summer Vendor Event. It's at Strego Vineyards in Baldwinsville, New York. I paid for an 8x8 indoor space. So the outdoor spaces were 10x10 and it's $40, or the indoor space is 8x8, so a little bit smaller, but $60. So it's $20 more to be inside their like pavilion thing I think they're setting up. Based on my spot that I already got emailed, that's what it appears. It appears to be like, kind of like when I did an event at a brewery, they just like put up a clear like pavilion. So I paid the $60. I Venmo'd her in March 12th apparently is what my paper says. So I already paid for it. I already have insurance for it. They didn't require it, but I did do it on this one. So yeah, that is where did I say? The 30th. And so setup's at 10 to 11:30 and the event is 12 to 5, so noon to 5. So that is at the end of the month. Today is the 9th. Say the 9th, Saturday? Yeah, today's the 9th. So I still have a lot. I have I literally have 3 weeks from today. So today's the 9th. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 weeks from today is the 30th. And I don't have any other events in between now and then. So that gives me 3 full weeks to work on stuff. So that would mean that I'm gonna have to do some challenges, whether it's how many of something I can make in a day or something. I'm gonna have to do something because I need to get those smalls made. I can't go into an event without those. So that is my plan. And we are going to end this here. Thank you so much for watching. And I'm sorry I couldn't get more footage. It's just their music was extremely copyrighted. It was just like Cardi B and all. It was just a lot of music. It was a lot of music and loud. It was loud. Like I couldn't even hear myself think at a certain point. So I was only able to get the first little clip for you. But I know they're going to have music at this next one, but I believe it's just from 1 to 4. So I'll be able to get some footage during setup, and then I'll be able to get some footage at the end, I presume, because the music would be done. And I think it's their own music too. It's not specifically like copyrighted from like YouTube and stuff. So we're gonna end that here. And until next time, see you later.